please let him not act up. Like, please let him not do nothing stupid around my family, because I know how my cousins is. Like, they gonna go off on him, like, you know, and that's gonna just escalate the situation. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Tika, also known as Beautiful Soul. So today's video is gonna be more on a, I guess, more intimate topic. I'm explaining something that I've been through. Maybe some other women have been through this. Trigger warning, this is about verbal as well as some physical abuse. So if you're someone who is too sensitive to that, then maybe this isn't the video for you. But if you're someone who either wants to hear about my story and maybe see how this story can help you, that's the only reason why I'm sharing this. I don't know why I feel nervous. I guess just because I've never actually spoke about this up until now. So I'm just like, you know what? I want to get more personal on my channel. I want to be able to, I guess, help other women, and also while helping other people, I'm helping myself by releasing what I've been through and just letting it go. So yeah, if you're interested in that video, then keep on watching. Okay, so basically I was in a abusive relationship. There was, while I was on a break with my on again off again relationship, the boyfriend, I told you that for 10 years, me and him was on an off season basically. So at this time, you know, I was just like, you know what, you know how every girl, like, you know, single again, back on the prowl, da, 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 da. You know, so it's kind of like I just was like, okay, whatever, that didn't work out, or on a break, or I wouldn't even say a break, I would just say that me and him broke up at that time. So then that was kind of like, you know, whatever. So enough about that. So anyways, going into when I met this guy. So first off, I met him and it was a major red flag, y'all. But in that moment, I wasn't thinking like that. I was a little younger, a little more naive, so I didn't realize it was a red flag. But so how I met him was at my job that I worked at. He was a contractor that worked in that area, and he had to it was at a, I guess it was at a hotel, so he stayed at that hotel or whatever. And how I met him was, I'm coming in, I was assistant general manager slash team lead, and he was going off on one of my coworkers. Like, I don't know what the situation was about. I can't even remember. I think it might have been something so petty, but I'll come in and he's just cussing her out, y'all, like just going in on her, calling her everything under the sun. I'm just like, and me, I'm the type of person, like, if I see you going off on any of my coworkers, you know, any position, I don't care, like, and I'm gonna check that, like, you know, like, I feel like no matter what someone has done, it can always be fixed. You know, I've worked in customer service for years, so I know how to kind of de-escalate a situation. So, and she's like this sweet, like, Gambian woman, you know, her English is not the best, I will say that, but you still knew what she was saying, you know. And he's like cussing her out, like, oh, you need to go back where you come from, like, you don't even speak English, da 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 da, you know. So I come in, put my stuff down, you know, I see her hanging there in tears, so I, you know, kind of push her to the side, and I'm like, hey, you know, hi sir, my name is such and such, you know, how can I help you? I see that you're frustrated, and in order for me to help you, I need you to calm down. That's the only way I can help you. And at this moment, he's like, I said, sir, addressing me now, let's not focus on that. Explain to me exactly what happened, but I need you to do it calmly. So he, you know, explains the situation, da 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 da, and I just was like, oh, okay, well, how about this? Let me do this, this, and that for you. You know, I do apologize for the miscommunication, but you know, if there's anything you need in the future, just come directly to me. If that'll make it a little bit easier, because I mean, like I said, her English was a little broken, but you know, it's some people out there who act like they just cannot understand foreigners. Like, come on, you know, if you can't understand it, I get it, whatever. So anyways, at that moment, I saw that he kind of, like, you know, he softened up a bit. He was a little bit more nicer. He didn't look like the angry guy, and he kind of like smiled at me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's kind of cute. Like, got a nice smile, and I'm just thinking like, okay, not thinking much more of it, but I just was like, wow, this guy's kind of cute, you know. But then now looking back, it's like, Tika, he just cussed out your employee. Like, why are you looking at this guy like that, you know? But then I'm just like, oh, everyone has a bad day, whatever. So some time has passed, and you know, we just see each other in passing. You know, I speak because that's what I do. I speak to everybody. And you know, it came a point where he was just like, you know, I just think you're beautiful. Like, I think we should go out on a date, da 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 da. And I'm just like, I don't know. Only just because, you know, at that time, you know, I was still, you know, kind of getting over the guy that I was the on again, off again boyfriend for 10 years. And I kind of just didn't want to rush into anything, because it's like when you just go to break up, you know, you're a little more fragile, a little more, I guess, vulnerable in a sense, you know? So I was like, I don't know. But then I talked to like my best friend and stuff. She's like, girl, just go ahead. Like, you know, if he's a nice guy, just, you know, just do it. So I go on a date with him, and it was a really good date. Like we went, well, no, I lied. The beginning of the date was good. We went to go get Mexican food, and we just was like laughing, talking, you know, and I got to know him a little bit better. So I found out that he is way older than me, like by 10 years, which is nothing wrong with that. But I will say, ladies, if you are dating a guy that's significantly older than you, please be mindful that they can't, some guys, not all, some guys do try to, I guess, you know, they try to manipulate younger girls, or they try to appeal to them by showing them like, oh, I'm just this nice guy, just haven't found the right one yet. Then they kind of like, you know, little stuff come on later on that you realize like, okay, now I see why nobody your age dates you. So he did tell me that he was going through a divorce, and that he had 3 children by his ex-wife, and you know, stuff like that. So at first I'm kind of like, I don't know, but then I just think, okay, Tika, well, he is a little bit older, so you can't expect him not to have children. And then now, like, I mean, back then, I mean, I was younger, so I'm like, I really don't have to date a guy with kids, but I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, if he's a good dad, like, who cares, you know? So then later on in the date, we go to the movies. And another thing, never go to the movies on your first date. Go to places where you can actually do stuff. The movies, you know, it's dark, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's another situation for another day. Just don't do the movies. So we went to the movies, and his phone was going off, and it was his ex-wife calling. And all I know is, he's like, you stupid B. Like, I'm talking about, y'all, like, we're in the, like, we're not in a theater, but we're like outside the theater. Like, he's just like going off of her, cursing her out. I guess it was something about her not taking the kids to see his mom because one of the kids wasn't feeling well, and he basically was cussing her. I was like, why don't you just give the kid medicine? And my mom wants to see my kids, and you can't keep them away from her. But he just like cursing her out, and I'm just like, this is the second time I done seen this behavior of him going from sweet to like, now he's like cussing and calling you everything under the sun. And I'm just like I'm standing there like, oh my God, like, why are you talking to her? Like I just really want to be like, why are you talking to her? Like I don't know what the dynamic was in their marriage. I don't know, but I'm like, no woman should be talked to like that, period. And once again, here's a second red flag, and I'm like, okay, you know, it really did rub me the wrong way, but I just kind of like brushed it off. And then once we actually get into the theater, you know, I'm a little like kind of like stiff, you know, I'm kind of like, I don't like how you talk to her. Like, I get it, you're frustrated about stuff, but no woman should be talked to like that. And so I'm a little stiff on him, and he just kept trying to touch me while we're in the theater. And also too, I don't like handsy people. Like, I have to be very, very comfortable with you to let you touch me. Like, I'm very like, don't touch me, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like a little pitter patter hug with a space in between, that's fine. But you like trying to rub on me and touch on me, like, you know, oh, you're so cute, whispering in my ear. And I'm just like, I did not like that. Like, it made me feel so uncomfortable, you know, especially growing up as a person who's dealt with, you know, other type of abuse. You don't want people just in your space like that, you know, especially if you don't know them. Like, it's like, I'm not comfortable with you like that, you know? So I told him like, stop touching me. And I could tell he kind of got like, you know, did one of those. And I'm like, what you thought this was? Like, I get it, we're in a theater, and you know, like, I don't know if he just was expecting me to like screw him in the theater, but dude, it's not that type of party. It's not happening. So, you know, we leave from the date, you know, I'm already in my mind like, you know, I kind of don't want to talk to this guy. You know, it was cool, we got to hang out, but then I realized, I'm like, yeah, this ain't it, you know? So of course I go about my day, and he was very persistent, and like just kept calling me, texting me, you know, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Da 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 da. And I'm just kind of being dry, you know, I'm just like, I'm fine, I'm good, whatever, you know. He just like, okay, we go to dinner, can I just explain stuff to you? So I'm like, me just like, okay, you know, okay, I'll give him a chance, you know. So we go to dinner, and we kind of talked, and I just was like, you know, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't like the way you communicated with her, I don't like that. And he was just like, you know, I'm sorry you had to hear that, and I promise you that's not me. I'm very sweet, I'm very nice, you just don't understand, like, we've been through through so much in our marriage, and you know, I'm just, you know, I don't know why I talk to her like that, but you just have to understand, like, you know, everything you hear and see is not what it is. Like, it's more stuff to the story. And at that point, I'm just like, okay, well, who knows? Maybe she cheated, maybe she did something, you know, rationalizing in my mind, like justifying that what he did was okay. And I'm like, now looking back, it's like, that wasn't okay. Like, it's no explanation, no matter what she did, it's no explanation of you talking to a woman like that, period, point blank. So he was just like, but I really like you, I really see a future with you, you know, you're very sweet, you know, you seem to have your head on straight, you got a decent job, like, you know, you're working, you got your own place, like, you know, that's the type of girl that I'm looking for, you know. So I'm just like, okay. And then he was just like, you know, but, you know, I can understand if you don't want to talk to me, but just know that, you know, I really am a good dude. And, you know, and I just was like, you know, then he, you know, gave me that winning smile. So I'm like, okay, well, all right. So time passed, we've been going out on dates, we've been having fun, but then I noticed, like, he started to shift with me. He started, like, if I wore certain things, like, he would get upset about that. If I wore makeup, he hated it. Like, he hated when I wore, why do you wear makeup? I just feel like that's so stupid. You're hiding your natural beauty. And I'm like, anyone who knows, like, makeup, that's how I express myself. It's not that I need makeup. I love makeup. Like, I just like it, you know? So he would get upset about that, or like he would like poke fun at like some of the stuff that I had on. He was like, oh, you shouldn't show your legs. Like, I'll actually insert an outfit that I wore one day, and he was like, you shouldn't show your legs. Like, your legs are like too, like, they're just like chickeny legs. Like, they don't match the rest of you. Like, you shouldn't wear your legs out. I'm just like, dang, like, I'm like, who do you think you are? Like, you know, how you gonna tell me? So then that kind of like, and it kind of like played on my insecurity in a sense, because I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't wear my legs out, because I mean, I do have like little ankles. So I always be like, that's always been like an insecurity of mine. So I'm like, for him to say that is like, well, dang, he might be right. When we would go out to restaurants, y'all, it was to the point to where if somebody, I used to pray people wouldn't compliment me, because I knew he would go off. Like, he would, like, as soon as we get in the car, oh, you just think you cute. Oh, you just gonna run off with the next guy that looks at you. Like, you're so easy manipulate. Like, somebody tell you cute, you just take it to your head. And I'm like, I didn't even say anything. All I said was thank you. Like, that's common courtesy, that's common decency, you know what I mean? Or even if, like, say for instance, I might ask for like extra condiments, like, you know, I might ask for like ketchup or honey mustard or something, like, you're just so high maintenance. Like, you can't just eat your food and just shut up. Like, why do you have to like bother the waiter? Like, oh, you want to get their number, you want to talk to them? I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Like, why are you spazzing out? And then I'm thinking to myself, Tico, why are you accepting this? Why are you allowing this? You know? And it was always an issue. Like, there was one incident where my cousin came down from Savannah. She, you know, all my family's from Savannah. So she came down from Savannah, and we linked up with my other cousin who worked at a bar, basically. So she's like, yeah, y'all come on down, you know, I'm gonna take care of y'all. So of course, me and my cousin like, bet, like, we miss our family, like, let's go link up and see our family. And I just know that night he just kept blowing up my phone, kept acting crazy. At this point, I put my phone on silent, because I know how my cousins are. Like, my cousin Jessica, my cousin Tiana, like, they go crazy about me, you know what I'm saying? So if they see my phone blowing up and it's the same guy, they're like, what's his problem? Like, he know you out with your family, right? Like, why he acting like that? And you know, so I just like, I didn't even want to do it. I'm like, hey, I'm good. And he's like, where are you? Who are you with? Like, I know you said you're a cousin, but how do I know your cousin ain't got some guys like lined up for y'all? And I'm like, what do you think we're out here doing? Like, we're literally just having drinks and just talking, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm fine, I'm good. He's like, no, give me your address right now. So at that point, I just ignored it. I'm like, okay, look, I told you I'm out. I told you I'm at a bar. Like, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. So, you know, my cousin Tiana is like, yeah, y'all come. We should go here. You know, if y'all not tired, like, let's go to this next spot. I'm like, all right, cool. So, you know, me and my cousin, we about to hop in her car. And I found out she had a boot on her car. So I was just like, dang, this sucks. And nobody else had a boot. And anybody could tell you, if you in Atlanta and you got foreign tags, just know they gonna try to boot your car. So please understand, certain parts of Atlanta, like, they just be trying to get money. So always try to find a parking garage if you can, because everybody know in Atlanta they love booting people. So she got a boot on her car. I want to say he put 2 boots on that thing, but he put a boot on it. And you know, so we called the after hour number. We're waiting for that person. And then next thing I know, I'm like, I see this Ford, because he had a pickup truck. I see this black Ford pull up. I'm like, dang, that look like, you know, such and such. And sure enough, y'all, I didn't even know how he found me, but I must have told him where my cousin worked at in the past, and he must have remembered. All I know is he pulls up, and all I just was thinking, like, my heart dropped, y'all. All I was thinking is like, please let him not cut up out here. Please let him not act up. Like, please let him not do nothing stupid around my family, because I know how my cousins is. Like, they gonna go off on him, like, you know, and that's gonna just escalate the situation. He comes out, he gets out of his car, and like, he would just like looked at me like just one of those like I'm gonna handle you. So, but then he like flips to my cousin like, hey family, da 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 da, you know, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry you got a boot, like that's crazy. So by this time the boot person already came, and you know, I was just like, okay, I'm about to go back to my cousin. He was like, no, don't you have to get up for work in the morning? I'm like, no, like I can't remember if he said you got to go to work or you got to do something or whatever the case may be. So I just was like, let me just go with him, because I don't want to deal with whatever happens next. So I told my cousin, I was like, hey cuz, you're good? She was like, yeah girl, I'm fine. This kind of blew my night. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. You know, I love you. Call me when you call or text when you get home. And he's like, yeah, you know, make sure, yeah, let her know, you know. So by this point he's already in the car, and I could tell he was either drinking, he was on something, because he was like, it wasn't like drunk, but you could tell he was out of it, you know what I mean? So all I know is he sped off like a bat out of hell, y'all. Like, I'm talking about, he's pushing like, we on 75, no, 285, one of them. I think we on 75. We on 75, and I kid you not, this man is going like 95 miles an hour. Like, he's speeding. It's 2, 3 in the morning, so I'm just thinking like, Lord, let us not get pulled over. Let us not get into a car accident, you know? And he just cussing me out like, you got me all the way out here all late at night, come to get your stupid ass, and you just don't understand, like, anything could have happened to y'all, and you out here being a little hoe, and da da da. And I was like, I'm with my family, like, where it's all good vibes, like, it's no guys, like, what are you talking about? He was like, I don't trust you, like, how do I not know you're just gonna talk to somebody else? He was like, you know what, I might just have to start beating you to keep you in line, because you're not submissive enough. And when he said that, I was just like, what? And he just looked at me like, of course, sorry baby, I would never put my hands on you. But it's like, the fact that you would even joke like that or say that, it kind of was just like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what? And I'm just thinking like, why, once again, like, why are you in this situation? Why are you dealing with this guy? Then I remember, okay, he knows where I live, he knows where I work, he knows, now he done met one of my family members. Like, at this point, it's kind of like, I feel like I was trapped in a sense, you know, and I'm pretty sure anybody else who's dealt with an abusive relationship, you might feel like you're trapped because, you know, that person knows everything about you in a sense, you know. And then at that time, like, I wasn't really close with, you know, I really didn't have any like around me like that, you know. My best friend at the time, she was like, you know, living, you know, further out, and she was like in the process of getting married and stuff like that, so she's kind of dealing with that. So I kind of really didn't have anybody to run to, you know what I mean? And you know, my faith wasn't as strong at that point, so I just feel like I kind of was just like twiddling in the wind, you know, allowing certain situations that I would never let happen. And you know, he kind of just was basically, I felt like at the time, the only person that I had, you know. And you know, I just felt as though that I felt like, okay, well, this is clearly the guy I'm supposed to be with, you know. Like, I don't know why I just thought that, but I'm like, yeah, this is the guy I'm supposed to be with. So after that night, you know, he basically, of course, apologized, like, I'm sorry, sometimes you just get me so worked up, you know, sometimes I just lose my temper, but you know, I really do love you and I see a future with you, and you know, I really feel like we'll be together, and this is just it, you know. And then at this point, you know, we were using protection and everything of that nature, but I think one time we didn't, and y'all, like, I was so scared, like, I got a plan B the next day. Like, I was just like, like, because I think a part of me knew, like, okay, if I'm gonna be with this guy, I ain't having no kids by him, you know. So of course, I like, let me protect myself, you know, and I got a plan B. I took the plan B and everything. And guys, you know, this dude went through my trash can. Like he literally, like the next day, like he was in, I think he was in my apartment, and I guess the box was either in the bathroom, whatever, and he got so angry. Why would you do that? You killed a blessing and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, you act like it's a full-grown fetus. Like, I mean, at this point, who even, like, I mean, now looking back, I probably wouldn't have got pregnant. But still, it's just like, who, you don't even, what are you talking about? Like, it's just a precaution to make sure your crazy ass sperm doesn't get to my eggs. Like, I'm not going through that, you know? And he just was like screaming and cussing, calling me all type of bees and hoes and everything of that nature. And like at this point I'm like crying, and he's like, oh, there you go, being dramatic, being extra, being so much, like, you know, of course you always gotta blow things out of proportion. I'm like, who cusses somebody out while they're crying? You know what I mean? Like, clearly that's telling you that I'm hurt right now. I don't want to be bothered. Like, please just stop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, could you just stop? Could you just stop, you know? And then, you know, at that point, I kind of just pulled away from him at that point. Like, I stopped talking to him, stopped answering his calls, and then he called me like late at night. I think me and my roommate were in Walmart, and he calls me like, and now looking back, I'm like, that was probably a crocodile. He was fake crying, but it was kind of like he was just like crying, like, I just want to explain to you, you know, what's been happening with me or why I am the way I am. And he was just like, it just hurt me because I feel like we could just create something so beautiful, and I really want to be with you, but you know, it's some things about me that you need to know. Like, you know, I used to be a drug addict, because he said he was addicted to cocaine, and he also was like, and I also have a baby on the way. And I'm like, baby on the way? Like, I thought you were just married. And apparently, I guess while he was married, he got another woman pregnant. I don't know. And that's, I'm just like, what the heck did I get myself into? What is going on here? And he's just like on the phone, just like kind of just bawling his little eyes out, fakely probably. And he's just like, you know, I'm going through all of that, but I still want a future with us because I don't want anybody else with you. I just feel like we could just be such a power couple. Like, we could just be so great. And I don't know why. I don't know if him being vulnerable in that moment make me think like, oh my God, he cares. Oh my God, he feels comfortable to share all these personal things with me. Like, I don't know. And that was definitely a manipulation tactic, but I just felt in that moment, I just thought that anybody willing to open up to me like this and tell me everything about them and, you know, show me how they are, like, you know, maybe he does care. Maybe he just needs help. And I don't know how I thought I was the one to give him the help he need, but in that moment, it was my mission to like, oh wow, I have to be there for him. Like, he poured his heart out to me. Like, I can't just leave this guy stranded, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I understand. Like, you know, I'll stay by you and I'll do it through this. Like, we'll get through this together type situation. And a part of me just knew like, okay, Tika, like, you taking on way too much. Like, this is way out of you should not be going through this, you know? And I always felt like, you know, that he was either still he's messing with other people or talking to other people. I felt like he was, but I just didn't have the heart to ask or tell him. So, because once again, I didn't want that to be an argument. I didn't want any more drama to come about from that. And I just was like, I guess shut up and accepted it, which is terrible, but I did, you know. And I'm pretty sure anybody else on the other end of this camera, you probably have done the same thing. You probably have basically rationalized that person's actions, just thinking like, oh, they need help and I'm the person to help them. Wrong. Nobody can help them but Jesus and a counselor, okay? So, you know, moving forward, you know, I kind of sucked up whenever he would lash out. I have his moments. I'm like, oh, it's just him, just, you know, he's just dealing with a lot. You know, I'll rationalize dealing with a lot. He's dealing with a lot, as if like that was my issue, you know what I mean? And then it got to the point to where me and him, what happened? He, let's just fast forward. So he basically got a call one day and they said that I think his grandmother or someone died in his family. And he said that he was fine, but I felt like he wasn't fine. So of course, me trying to be, you know, savior, like just thinking like, oh, you know, let's go. Like, I know he liked the movies. I was like, let's go to the movies. Let's go see this movie or whatever. Oh, and that was another thing too, y'all. He drank heavy throughout our whole relationship. Like, he was a very heavy drinker, and that probably contributed to a lot of arguments. But he was a very heavy drinker. He tried to act like he wasn't, but he definitely was an alcoholic. I feel as though like it just like you left one crutch for another. So that night, he always would get a drink because the movie theaters, you could buy alcohol out at the movie theaters. bartenders here. So he had way more drinks. He always get like 1 or 2 drinks or whatever, and of course I was driving, and me, when I drive, like, I'm not gonna really drink. So he gets a drink, and by this point he just kept going back, and I'm just thinking to myself, why the heck is the bartender still letting him get drinks? I mean, like, barely 30 minutes into this movie, and this man done had like 5 drinks, like, no joke, like 5 drinks. He got upset with me because I didn't want to drink, and I'm like, well, I'm driving, and you know, I'm not trying to deal with the cops, you know, or just in general, I just didn't feel like drinking, because I feel like how drunk you get, and one of us gotta be level-headed, like, So I had a sip of his, like, I was like, oh, let me just try what you're having, just to shut him up, you know. Tried the drink, I'm like, ugh, you know, because it definitely tastes like pure alcohol. So you know, at the end of the movie, you know, he's drunk, like, to the point to where words are slurring and everything, and I'm just like, so he's kind of like leaning on me a little bit, you know, just being stupid, you know, like, because can barely walk and stuff, and of course people are staring at us, and I'm just trying to hurry up and get him into the car, because like by this point I'm pretty much embarrassed, you know. So on the drive home, I just turned on the radio, and me, I'm the type of person, like, when I'm already kind of like upset or whatever, I tend to zone out. I tend to just kind of like separate myself from the situation. So mentally, so physically I might be in a situation, but mentally I'm gone, and that's really not a good thing, quality that I do, but I notice I do that a lot. That's like a protection that I do. I kind of like, you know, mentally I separate myself from the situation. So I'm just driving, you know, the music, I turn on the radio, and he turns it up, and he's like, oh, this is my song, and I'm just like looking like, okay, you know. And then he was like, what, you don't like this song? And I was like, I'm not a big fan, but I mean, if you like it, that's fine. And y'all, that man flipped. He starts beating on my dash. Boom, boom, boom. This is why I can't effing stand you. You get on my effing nerves. You always complaining about something. Nothing ever satisfy you. You're just so bitter. You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna be single for the rest of your life. No man wants to deal with a bitter bitch. Da 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 da. And I'm just like, so at this point, I snap back into reality. I'm like, what are you talking? I was like, cause I don't like a stupid song that's gonna make me single for the rest of my life. I was like, if I'm gonna be single, you're gonna be single. Who gonna want a man that's married, who's going through a divorce with 4 kids? I was like, you need to worry about taking care of your kids instead of worrying about a relationship. After I said that, I instantly was like, like, I'm sorry, it's really not funny, but yeah, it just was like, did I just say that? Like, I was like, wow, Tika, okay. But y'all, he got so upset. He starts hitting me on the side of my face. Keep in mind, I'm still driving. Like, I'm trying not to swerve, but I mean, like, this guy's like slapping me in the face while I'm driving, and all I could think in that moment was, I'm like, you know what, screw this, I'm about to kill both of us, you know what I mean? Like, I was just, I can't take it. I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm about to just and it was to the point where I wasn't even thinking about myself at that point. I just was like, you know what, I'm about to just drive into a ditch or drive into something, because I can't deal with this no more. Like, I'm sick of it, you know. And then I'm just like, him putting his hands on me, like, that was just the final straw. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And the whole time he's hitting me, he's like, I'll kill you, you bitch. I'll kill you, bitch. Don't ever talk about my fucking kids. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. And I'm just like, and I'm thinking, I'm like, well, kill me then. Kill me. If you want to kill me so bad, just kill me then. Kill me. Just do it already. Just shut up about it and just do it, you know? Because at this point, I'm like, I'm sick of it. You have ruined my night. You have ruined these, you know, this time. Here I am thinking about building a future with a guy who I can't even have a normal conversation with, because I don't know if that's going to be the moment where he just flips on me. Like, even when I went out of town for my best friend's wedding, do you know that was an issue too? Like, cause he kept blowing me up, leaving just crazy voicemails, thinking I'm doing something there. Like, I pretty much got drunk the whole time I was in Jamaica for my best friend's wedding, just so I wouldn't have to think about him or even have to deal with his phone calls. And I'm just like, well, so I came up with some live, like, international calls, I don't know, whatever I told him, but it sufficed. It bought me some time. But at that point, I'm just like, it just was so much of a buildup of like, I can't do this. And, you know, he was just like, I'll kill you. And I'm just like, okay. By this point, made it to my apartment, and I'm just like bawling, crying. You know, I'm bawling, crying. You know, I threw all his stuff out of my apartment. You know, he's banging at the door. Open up, you dumb bitch. Open up. Let me in. And I'm just like at the door, just crying. At this point, my roommate comes out of the room. She's like, what is happening? And I'm like, please just don't say anything. Like, don't talk. Just don't say anything. Don't open the door. It's all his stuff. So he eventually initially left because he had his stuff. And I couldn't do it. Like, you know, I called my cousin, you know, because she didn't know what was going on. I had to just talk to somebody, you know. I'm like, look, this is the situation. The guy you met that time, like, he's crazy. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't know what to do. And luckily by this point, I didn't have to see him because I moved on from job or whatever. And I think that his contract with the company was almost up anyway. So I'm just, okay. I'm like, okay, I got like a couple of weeks and he'll be gone. So my plan was to be nice to him, like nice in a sense of like, okay, be cordial, don't off the boat, because I'm like, this guy knows where I live. And then I'm like, but then I kept thinking like, okay, you could go to the cops, but it's like, okay, what do I say? What do I do? You know, sometimes if you go to the cops, they may not be able to do anything. And then I thought about his kids. I'm like, well, he is their main source provider financially. I'm like, what if his kids, you know, they need him to provide for them? So I'm thinking about all these things, like even in the midst of him putting his hands on me, going through all of that verbal abuse, a toxicness, I'm still thinking about his well-being. I'm still thinking about his kids. I'm thinking about his ex-wife. I'm thinking about all these people and not even thinking about myself. You know what I mean? And all I just was thinking like, okay, well, he'll be gone soon. You don't have to deal with him anymore. So once he left, that was pretty much it. I did end up, you know, meeting up with him one time, and that was a disaster, of course, because one thing about people, when they say they change, they haven't changed. It's like they'll be nice for that 5 seconds, and then they'll flip back to that person of whoever they truly are. So after that, I was like, nah, I'm done with this situation. So fast forward to, let's say last year, no communication. I didn't even know we still follow each other on social media. I think now he's blocked for sure. But he reached out to me saying like, oh, I want to hang out with you. Like, I missed you. You're like, you know, I'm so proud of you. Like, you're doing well, da 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 da. You're still so beautiful. Like, I just really missed us. And at this point, I'm like, do this guy not remember the hell he put me through? I'm like, absolutely not. So I was nice. I was like, you know, thank you, but no thanks. Like, I'm fine. I don't think that'll work out. Like, I don't think that us communicating, us, you know, hanging out with each other, I don't think that's good. You know, I was just like, but I wish you the best, you know, and all of that. And he flipped out. Okay, he went berserk. Then he left me this voicemail. I may insert a clip of the voicemail just so y'all can hear it. I will distort his voice, of course, so it won't, you know, basically, you know, I'll distort the voice so you won't be able to tell who it is, and I don't want to say the person's name anyway. But you know, him just going off like that on my voicemail just reminded me of like, thank God I'm in a different place now. Like, thank God I'm like wised up from that situation, because it's like so many women would have went back to that, you know. So many women would have just like, okay, well, I mean, at least he cares about me. And it's like, no, that's not love. That's not care. That's not any of those things. Like, you know, no one should put you down to humble you, because he would say stuff like that. Like, no one should put you down to humble you. No one should make you feel less than. No one should, you know, get upset if you get compliments of anything. I want to gotta be like, yeah, my girl is bad. Like, not think it's a competition or think that I'll run off with the first guy that smiles at me. You know what I mean? Like, no guy should do that. And then also too, no guy should, you know, basically get upset about whatever the case may be over small stuff, because it's like, what are you hiding? What are you doing? You know what I mean? And then two, no one should put their hands on you. Like, him putting his hands on me, you know, that was like, I don't even know why I even allowed to get to that point. You know what I mean? Just because mental abuse is enough. You know what I mean? So when it got physical, it just was like, girl, no, you know, no one, I don't care how upset somebody gets, I don't care how mad someone gets, no one should ever put their hands on you and don't think it's your fault. Because at the moment I thought it was my fault, because I'm like, well, I did say something smart to him, but I'm like, about all the stuff that he said to you or done to you, like, you can't let, you know, someone think that that's okay. Like, he honestly felt like that was okay. Like, I'm even cracking a joke prior to that, saying that he should beat me for me to be more submissive and listen more, or I guess be the person that he wants me to be. No one should say stuff like that, you know. That's not love. That, you know, and if someone is doing that to you, like, please, I beg of you, please let that situation go. It's not worth it. Now, I know when people have children with people, it gets a little bit more complicated. I would definitely say, if you have a support system or any type of friends, an outlet, I mean, abuse hotlines, domestic violence hotlines, please, you know, tap into those resources, because, you know, it's so sad when I see women, you know, basically getting murdered by the hands of the people that they call their boyfriend or their baby daddy or whatever. Like, it's so sad. I'm like, dang, that could have been me. Like, God could have killed me, you know, because he has a temper and he always carried a gun on him. Like, he always had his gun, he always had his knife. So at any point, he could have pulled that gun out on me, you know, even in the car with him being drunk. You know, he could have shot me. He could have, you know, punched me to the point of unconsciousness, you know, and just so many things could have happened looking back. And I'm like, wow, like I really was like, I really allowed someone to treat me that way. And you know how some people be like, oh, it could never be me. Like, don't ever say it could never be you, because you don't know until you're in that situation. You don't know until it happens. Like, because I've always been a strong-minded person. I've always been the type of person that, oh, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me or whatever like that. And there I was in that situation. So don't ever think that you're better than someone, that it can't happen to you. If it, you know, I pray that it doesn't happen to you, but if it does, you know, please know that you don't have to be in that situation, like, at all. It's not your job to fix someone. It's not your job to save someone. Don't take on that responsibility. Honestly, don't. Like I said, one people that could have helped him was counseling Jesus, you know, and now I think that I don't know how he's doing. I personally, I don't care to know. I just pray for his kids and the women that got to deal with him for the rest of their life, because it ain't gonna be me. Like, I don't care, it ain't gonna be me. So yeah, that's pretty much my story time. Some other things that probably happened, but I kind of just decided to leave out. But for the most part, that's like the bulk of the situation. But yeah, I would definitely say please be careful out there when it comes to relationships. I know, you know, we all desire to be in a relationship. It's nice, it's cool, it's fun when it is, and then it ain't, you know. So, but if you are in a violent situation, please get out of that situation. Like, you're never too far gone. It's never too bad. Like, you gotta do it. You know, do it for yourself. If you got kids, do it for your kids, because nobody should grow up in that situation. No one should deal with that situation. So thank you guys for watching. Comment down below if it helped you, or at least open your eyes. I'll try to do more videos like this where I'm, I guess, a little bit more vulnerable, sharing the experiences that I've been through. And yeah, so hopefully this helps, you know. I mean, if I can make it through, you can make it through. Granted, you know, like I said, I mean, I didn't have kids with this guy, so that kind of made the situation a little easier. But y'all, like, I'm telling you, life is too short and it's not worth it on, you know, losing it to a lunatic, you know. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.